Welcome to this special episode of Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast, a podcast that showcases great leaders. We normally talk about leaders awareness, leadership development, and our mentorship has made a change in their life. But today we're having a special edition. We are featuring something that is very, 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 very important and hot buttons in these times that we live in. And we are focusing on parenting and also how parents can practically connect to their teens, and we really want to deal with that today. And the reason why we're doing this is from the Lamb Global community, we have a real passion for attracting, developing, and multiplying leaders. And one of our passion is to really deal with the issue of the youth. We just finished a Blaze of Change annual Youth Global Conference, and one of our great leaders that really play a great role there. She's here with us today, and her name is Coach Remi. Hi, Coach Remi. How are you doing today?
Hello, Dr. Michael. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so she's here today, and also she's has authored a new book called Practically Connected Parenting. In fact, I already have my copy from Amazon. It's a beautiful book, well packaged, well designed, well loaded. And this is no philosophy. This is pure practical applications, a lived out book. And the good thing about this is we're going to talk about this in a very unique way. First of all, we would like to meet her to know who she is. Coach Remi, can you tell us something about yourself?
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Koku. Yes, I'm Remi Ayodele. I'm originally from Nigeria in West Africa. My husband and I are blessed with three amazing children, two young adults and a preteen. And I'm a Maxwell Leadership Certified Coach, Speaker, and Trainer, especially also a DISC consultant. And I founded Next Generation Empowerment in order to partner with parents and educators to inspire, to equip, and empower teenagers towards excellence in life, learning, and leadership. So that's a little bit about myself. And
Okay, there's something that she didn't say that I'm going to say. Yeah, she happened to be an electric engineer, so
oh,
she did engineering. Well, it's very, very important for you to know that, because right now I call her human engineer because she's into human engineering right now. And the reason for that is this, it's good to go to college to have a course of study, but what she's doing now is a passion, is a calling.
yeah.
And this is the power of understanding yourself. Just like me, if you know about my story, I'm a trained physician, and after finishing med school and practicing for 3 years, I came to America. And what I'm doing now is not medicine. I'm not into medicine. I'm not checking patient. Is a patient pale or jaundice? That's not what I'm doing now. I'm fully sold out into leadership. I'm
Hmm,
committed into leadership. And I believe so much that what we are born to do is more important than what we are trained to do.
that's
And
true.
and this is very, very important, because your calling is different from your training. So it's very important to understand that, and so that when you do what you enjoy doing, it makes life beautiful. I tell you, I wake up every day excited, and I sleep satisfied because I knew I'm making contribution to my world. And that's what Coach Remi, that's why she's here today. Now, this book, Practically Connected Parenting, I love the topic. I
Hmm.
love the topic. I love those three punchy words, practically connected parenting. Why did you decided, and to name this book Practically Connected Parenting? Thank you.
Yes, I named this book because we all know when you have your children, nobody hands you a user's manual or an operator's manual.
Mm.
So learning to connect with our teenagers practically was a quest of mine. because it's in a pivotal stage where they're pulling away from parents, developing their own personal identity. So I
mm,
wanted to find a practical way that I can reach them without them feeling muffled under my
mm,
parenting. So I
mm,
had to create practical tools to help me,
mm,
one, identify with them, relate with them, so I
mm,
can increase my influence with them. And
mm,
honestly, I got that principle from my mentor, John Maxwell, because he said connection is the ability to identify with people,
mm,
relate with them in a way that
mm,
increases your
mm,
influence with them. So for me as a
mm,
parent, parenting is all about influence. I wanted to
mm,
increase my influence, so I went on a search for practical ways to connect and be in their space so I can influence
mm.
them positively.
Wow, I actually love that. Thank you for sharing that. I love that idea because Dr. John Maswell, our mentor, he wrote a book on everyone communicate, few connect. Because and in doing some research and in communication, because I love communication. I just did a training of recent, elevate your communication. And one thing I found out was this: communication is not connection, because communication is sharing information. That's what you do. But connection is sharing humanity. And that's what Shane Stevenson said. When you look at that, it really makes so much sense because everyone is communicating. Only few are connecting. And like you said, the definition of connection is identifying and relating with people in a way to increase your influence with them. So that's why a communication is not effective until connection is made. And this is the purpose of this book, Practically Connected Parenting. Now, one thing that got my attention in preparing for this podcast is this. I found out that one of the challenges with today's teenagers is communication challenges.
Mm,
And it has been said that teens may be less communicative with parents, especially about sensitive topics.
mm,
So finding ways to connect, such as shared activities or indirect conversations, can be
mm,
helpful. This is what expert says. So, and
mm,
this is what you have done in this book. You have found practical ways for parents to connect because the challenge of today's youth is they don't need us for information.
mhm,
They need us for interpretation. They have a lot of information. They have Google, they have Siri, they have,
mhm,
name Alexis. They have so many names that they can get information from. So, as a someone that has worked in this field, what how can you share with parents that are listening to us or guidance? How can this, because there's a real crisis that we have right now, like I
mm,
said, communication crisis, in the sense that there's a disconnect and there's
mm,
something called the new diversity. And the new diversity, there's a new generation gap between parents and youth. I have a parent that I know, of course, from where I used to work in Salvation Army. They've had some challenges with their youth that I was called to really to really come and
mm,
mediate. I remember one day I was meant to be in a conference. I was meant to even be in the hotel in that conference for 3 days, 90 minutes drive away. But I happened to just come to the city then. And I was called that night. I was like, wow, to deal with the teenagers, the dad said, no, he got to leave. He can't stay. And all. I said, no, you can't just send him to the streets. We got to
mm.
figure this thing out. So there's
Yes.
this challenge. So this is not something that is, it is, this is not something that is occult, and this is something, that is visible, that is obvious to all. So this is a real pandemic.
Yeah.
This what we are talking about is pandemic, but the good news is we have a solution, and the
Yes.
solution is practically connected parenting. So I wanted to share, not just as an author now, Share with us as a parent what
Mm.
has worked for you, and because I want people to see, because we've had some conversation in the green room, and you've shared with me how of recent you even took your daughter on a trip and all that. So these are the things that parents needs to know. So share with us, how can this book solve the global pandemic of disconnected of disconnection between parents and their teens. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Koku. You have really outlined the challenges. And in fact, to add to that challenge, according to the Center for Disease Control, they
Mm,
said when teenagers are connected with at least one adult in the family, there
mm,
is a 66% chance that they're less likely to experience depression. So
mm,
if we want to solve depression and mental health crisis, connection is one key right there. And the
mm,
other challenge they also raised is that they are 55% less likely to commit or attempt suicide. So
mm,
if we can just increase our connection, the crisis that the world is trying to solve, we can
mm,
start solving it in our own home. So you
mm,
mentioned like indirect ways of connecting. That is why one of the 21 ways in my book is go on a walk, because they are less intimidated. If you're sitting down and asking them questions, you're staring at them. That might be that gap that you were talking about, that
mm,
communication gap. But when you're taking a walk, like the other day, I was taking a walk with my daughter. We saw a flower that I had in my backyard growing up in Nigeria. I told her that story, but that walk ended up with conversations about dating, about her dreams and goals for life, because she just finished from high school and she's
mm,
planning her next stage. So just that taking a walk side by side, we stop, take picture with flowers and talking about these sensitive topics about life plans and life goals. Have you even made
mm,
your college list? I was asking her all this, and we're talking about what possible things to add on that list. So that was an indirect way of just asking her questions and having conversations. And you also mentioned the shared experiences.
mm,
I shared with you. So she finished high school. I wanted to connect with her as we bridge the gap between being a young adult and being an independent adult out there on
mm,
her own. And so I bought a book about dating. And two experts that have researched and practically applied it for 30 years. I bought a copy for her and a copy for me. So we read each chapter. She highlights what stands out to her. I highlight what stands out to me. And we
mm,
have conversations. And the beauty is that I took her away from home. We just went to another city 2 hours away and just checked ourselves into a hotel. And so we will look at that book chapter by chapter and discuss it. So now I'm discussing life challenges about dating and finding a life partner. But it's an expert that's sharing the facts. So I'm
mm.
just relating my own story
Can you
to my
mention
husband.
you mentioned something about, you call it the third voice. I wanted to mention that particular word. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So, the chapter one of my book is the power of the third voice.
Mm,
So, sensitive topics, when you get a third voice that is an expert in that topic, and
mm,
together you dialogue with it. So, it's no longer mom or dad enforcing a rule or a guide rail for me. It is this expert who knows what they're talking about. And
mm,
mom and dad are now adding their own unique personal stories to what the
mm,
expert is saying. So this was the journey I took my daughter on. I did the same thing for my first daughter, helping us to intervene. Like when they're finishing elementary school, you must intervene and prepare them for middle school. When they're
mm,
finishing middle school, you go on another trip and prepare them for high school. When they finish high school, you go on another trip and prepare them for college, because these are pivotal moments between age 12 and 19 that we
mm.
must constantly intervene to help them and guide them along the way.
Mm. Wow, that was awesome. I really I love the power of the third voice that you talk about. And I've heard that before, but they didn't really mention the third voice the way you mention it. On the Financial Peace University, I'm one of the coordinator. And they normally talk about at times it's hard to communicate with your older ones about how to manage their finance. That
Mm.
just recommend the show to them, just play it and be quiet and let that third voice do the work. So
Yes.
whatever you say, it will just be to reinforce what that
Yes.
person is saying, and they are more open to receive it than coming directly from you. That, oh, mom
Yes.
said, mommy said, mommy said, and somebody can say, oh, that's your mom's opinion. But when you realize that no, this is a third voice, mommy
Mhm.
is just in alignment with what that person said. Oh,
Yes.
that's very powerful. That's very important. And what really touched me was you are ready to get your daughter out of home, out of every distraction to where you can really have a time with him. Now, tell me, what have you seen in your work with parents on the felt need? I believe this book is a felt need. That's why you wrote it.
Yeah.
So what are the things you've seen several times, I mean, that really bothered you to the point that you just realized that no, you need to come out with this book. Yeah.
Yes. So one of the big challenges is the individuality of the teenagers. Yes, adolescence kicks in and they must discover themselves. So they are
Mm,
no longer tied to our apron, so to speak, and they live in a different generation than we did. So being
mm,
able to identify with that alone. So they have that personality journey that they are going on discovering themselves. I'll take
mm,
the story of a mom that called me and said, Remi, I need help. She happened to have two teenage daughters, and we were back to back. We're going to be graduating within 2 years of each other. And she said, my boat is rocking. I mean, she's a poetic lady. She like, my boat is
mm,
capsizing, Remi. And so we went on this journey of helping them discover each other's personality. And by the time we were done with this journey, we noticed that the biggest conflict had to do with not accepting each other's differences and
mm,
understanding it and speaking the language that each personality understood. For example, one of her daughters was a dominant style, and that person, they know what they want, they go for it, they want to get their own goals done.
mm,
And the challenge with that is they forget that there are other people. They just focused on the goal. So whenever the
mm,
mom will give her guideline that would tend to derail her from her goal, it becomes a conflict situation. So by the time they discovered each other, this girl was literally crying and said, Mom, I'm so sorry. Because her
mm,
mom was a steady style. The people that want to make sure things go well, want everyone to feel at home. So the mom had this guideline for that continuity, for wellness and harmony in the home. So once they discovered, the mom now saw, wow, I need to give this girl choices so that, and with the choices can be within my positive intentions, so we can communicate with each other. And her
mm,
other daughter was an influencing star, the one that likes to go out with friends and do things on social media. So she did something on social media the mom didn't like. So the mom used some boundaries that prevented her from seeing friends. So when she found out the personality, influencing personality, they need friends. That's their social language. And so you can't reprimand them by their fears. So this dynamic of just discovering each other's personality brought so much peace and calm to this family that the mom wrote, Remi, you just sent me a lifesaver to prevent
mm,
my boat from capsizing. So that
mm,
is what parents must zoom in. Our children are so different from us. We must
mm.
identify, understand their personality, and speak the language they
Yeah.
understand.
Hmm. Wow, that's awesome. My question for you is, does this book speak to any culture all around the world? Does it apply to someone? Because this is a global audience. I mean, does it apply to someone in Asia, in Africa, in North America, in Europe? Or is this a book that is just written for a particular part of the world? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Koku, for asking that question. This question answers any parenting's problem around the globe because I have clients from all over. I just finished training with a family. The husband is American, the wife is from Taiwan. So that connection, bridging the cultural gap. Or
Mm,
the other family I talked about, her children were adopted from overseas, and she was raised here in America. So that's another cultural situation we had to bridge. And the other mom that I was working with from Canada, I mean, taking her children to a new country all together, and trying to raise them there when she has grown up from a different country. So merging that new culture, which you're all bringing, which makes this book very timeless, because I also share in there how my parents raised me. And I began to see parallel that even though times have changed, the values we want to pass on that are positive, they are the same. Is the method that we need to modify. So no matter the country that the person is from, even
Yeah.
one of my other clients, she's from Mexico. And so being able to connect with her, even at her own level, and interpret this to their culture that is more communal. And so you can just see how each story connects with whatever culture that you are raising your child in, whether the culture
Wow.
you grew up in or the
Yeah.
new culture you have immigrated to.
Wow, that's awesome. And that's really good to know, to really see that this book is relevant, wherever you live, and those principles are universal. Now, you mentioned in this practically connected parenting, 21 things you can do. I know we don't really have time to go over 21. Can you just highlight the top three of those things? And we don't want to give them 21 because we want them to buy the book. Yeah, because we want them
Okay.
to buy the book. I believe in this book. Listen, I've already bought my copy. I can't share my copy with you. You have to go and buy your own. So I mean, like I said, I just love this book. I know the packaging was so beautiful, and I mean, it was something well done. And when you look at the book, it was very unique. So now, out of those 21, can you just highlight three activities, since we realize this communication challenge is a real crisis, and we're
Mm,
talking about, yeah, things, since things are becoming less communicative with parents, especially about sensitive topics.
mm,
And it is being said that finding ways to connect, such as shared activities or indirect conversations, can be helpful. So,
mm.
and you've given us like 21. Wow, that's a lot. I mean, like almost a month. I mean, so can you just highlight three of those activities that parents can just start applying right now? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Koku. So, 21, experts often say when you repeat something 21 times, it's more likely to become a habit. So that's why I gave you 21 to rinse and repeat. But we've talked about the power of the third voice. We've also talked about that understanding personalities and respecting those personalities. We've also talked about that shared experience of using a book to go on this journey together. One of the beautiful and indirect ways I always enjoy using is cooking together. So the other
Mm,
day we were going to the park for a picnic as a family. So everybody was in charge of something. My daughter was making sandwich. Another daughter was washing the fruits. They asked me to cut the watermelon. My son, he was in charge of drinks, and my husband was packing the chairs and the games. So just the conversation of assembling our sandwich. Do you want lettuce in yours? Do you want onions in yours? Help us to communicate. That's an indirect way of having conversation. And that's just for sandwich. The other day we were having some guests over there, Nigerians. So the menu shifts. And so I'm here making jollof rice and fried rice and teaching them as usual how to cook it. One person was frying plantains. And so in the kitchen, just having that conversation about cultural meals versus even North American meals help us to pass down traditions, help us to ask questions, and help us to have those conversations. And I think I'll add one more. Since we're on the topic of cooking together, grocery
mm,
shopping. So
mm,
another one, then the last one I'll add is travel together. So because the grocery shopping helps you to teach them financial skills, planning skills. So when we create a menu and then we create a grocery list out of it, we go shopping together. The other day we were shopping and my son wanted something. Well, if you choose this cookie, you can have that other one. So choose one. So now we're teaching them the power of decision making, give and take. So, and we're negotiating which one do you want. So all these skills we're teaching indirectly, even as we're doing this. And when it comes to that travel, what the biggest skill it teaches is being able to serve one another. When you have to take turns to use the bathroom, when you have to choose a meal to share that day, one meal we eat together. The other meal, somebody may want Taco Bell, somebody wants Subway. So now we're not agreeing on one. So there's a meal where we're flexible. Go buy what you want, but let's come back together and eat together. So you can see how cooking together, going grocery shopping, traveling, all these dynamics, they are those indirect ways that you pass life values,
Yeah.
life skills to your children.
Wow, that's awesome. And I so much love this concept because, like I said, some parents are losing their kids, because today, and somebody said, we are not raising teenagers, we are raising screenagers.
Mm,
Yeah, and teens that are really, they are locked into different kind of screen. In those days, there's only one screen in the home, and
yeah.
everybody just come and watch the TV. But today there are multiple screens. So, and that's the thing about it. That's why, parents need to be more intentional in getting into the real estate, you know,
Mm,
of the things. They have their world. There's a world that they are being exposed to. So, and I mean, like I said, I've seen so many things. I mean, because of the fact that I work with teens and in the Salvation Army, and many of those parents, they trust me.
mm,
They've called me to really be a voice, like a third voice, like you said.
yeah.
I mean, in their life, I mean, so many of them, and just acquaint me of their progress, just to be in their life, because they realize as they are growing older, they are being exposed to so many things. And there are so many families I've been involved in. I've seen out one time there were this thing, she left home.
Mm,
I mean, I knew her since when she was in first grade. So
mm,
watching her grow, it really touched my heart. And I was asking the mother, why will you allow her to leave?
mm,
Later on, I just learned that she's pregnant. Oh, it really touched my heart.
mm,
And the mother has a lot of kids. I mean, kind of like, I mean, and it's like, what kind of example does she want to present to the little ones?
mm,
So they used to live not too far from us. So I normally check on them, anytime I'm going, I normally go to Wawa Monday and Thursday to pick up stuff for our outreach. So I just drive through to
mm,
see how. So when they now leave to a distance location, I mean, it really touched me that I couldn't check on them like I would really want to.
mm,
So, like I said, many of those things you feel like taking them from their parents and bringing them home and just being there for them, because at times their parents are distracted by so many things. So, in closing, what word, what will you have? What can you share with parents that they can handle this crisis? Because like I said, it's a real crisis. It's a
yeah.
global crisis. The teen stuff, that's why we are really into it, through the blaze of change. And before the end of this month, we are bringing a special magazine for the youths to further equip them. So what will be your closing advice for parents, and letting them realize how this book can be like a guide, like a workbook that they can
Mhm.
easily adapt. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Coco. So, what you just said is like that survey that we shared at the beginning. If parents would only connect with their
Mm,
teenager, and you
mm,
don't need a grand gesture or something elaborate, you're going
mm,
to cook, right? So,
mm,
cook together is one of the activities. You will buy
mm.
food for the house.
Yeah.
Going grocery shopping is one of the activities. You want to
Mm,
stay healthy. You want to take a walk, even around your block. Go together with them. So, the good thing about this 21 ways is it's what you're already going to be doing. But
mm,
now be intentional. It's like when
mm,
they say the proverb that says kill two stones with one bird. I mean, kill two birds with one stone. So you will be doing those activities already. Now involve your teenager with the
mm,
intention of
mm,
being in their space to identify
mm,
with them, being
mm,
in their space to connect with them, so that it will be a shared experience and you're mentoring as you're doing those already daily activities together with your teenager. So what I would just tell parents is it's not rocket science. They don't need us to be perfect. They need us to be present in their day-to-day activities. For example, when I'm sitting on my desk and it's late at night and my daughter opens the door, because I usually leave the door partly open. When she opens the door and peeks in, I know it's my invitation for connection. So even though I know I like these two Greek words for time. One is chronos and one is kairos. The
Kairos, yeah.
chronos is the ticking of the clock. Even though I know it's late at night, that clock is ticking. But the kairos is the moment opportunity shows up for connection. I leave what I'm doing. When I swivel my chair and she's still there, I know I follow her to her room and we have a conversation. I'm seizing the moment. So whatever we do as parents,
Yeah.
when we see that our teenagers, we haven't had any conversation that matters to life in that day, it's time to drop what you're doing and take moments to connect with them. I call it the dash in my book. The dash is typically when you go to a tombstone, they say this person lived from 19 this to 19 that. The
Yeah, like an
dash in
hyphen.
between,
Yeah.
yes,
The
the
hyphen.
hyphen in between,
Yeah.
it encloses the moments of what did we do with our life? How did we connect? What differences did we make? I have that dash for the teenage years between age 12 and 19. It's very short, 7 years. And I chose those moments because age 12, they're going to middle school. Adolescence kicks in full time. By the time you turn around, between after school activities, between extracurricular, between extra math lessons, between your own job, 7 years have gone and they're wearing graduation gown. You cannot rewind it. So when you find yourself not understanding your teenager, it's time to remember the dash, everything, and go find a way to connect. You have
Wow.
21 ways to do it.
Wow, this has been awesome. It's been interesante, like they say in Spanish. Wow. And I see parents listening to you, they're just enjoying you and all that, And the good news is the Lamb Global Community, we are hosting Parent Empowered Annual Global Conference coming up on December 20. And Coach Remi Ayodele is going to be one of our keynote speaker, and it's going to be great. She's going to go deep and speak to us much more about practically connected parenting. But before then, and parents are asking me now, they're asking, please, how can we practically connect to this parenting coach? How can we practically connect with you? So how can parents practically connect with you? Where can they find you? I know where to find you, but parents are asking me now, how can they practically connect with you? Can you tell them, please?
Yes, you can practically connect with me on my website, nextgenerationempowerment.com. And so once you go nextgenerationempowerment.com, and if you want to follow me on the summer challenge through the book on my Facebook page, Remi Ayodele, just find me there. And today I just dropped day 11 on my Facebook page. It's the Summer Connection Challenge, taking you through each chapter of the book, how you can practically apply it. So the recording will remain there. If you missed any day, you can always go back and review it. So we can definitely be on that journey together.
Is that the only place they can find your Facebook? Are you
Oh
on
my
other
goodness.
channels
Oh my,
too?
okay. I'm on Instagram. So Instagram, Remi Ayodele on Instagram. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Empowered Living
So
with Remi.
you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do.
I never knew that.
Oh my goodness. So yes, that is because I won't share it.
Okay,
I haven't been
okay.
posting as much as I should be. It's been sitting on my Facebook page, so I'll move it to my YouTube page
YouTube.
because I spend
Okay.
more time on Facebook and definitely
Okay.
from LinkedIn as well. So Remi Ayodele on LinkedIn, that
That's
is
good.
where I connect with my most of my
Yeah.
international connections.
Wow, that's awesome. It's been great. It's been amazing. Listen, this is unscripted. I just want you to know there's no script. That's why she's laughing because I was just practically connecting because I want people. That's it. The reason why I don't use script for my podcast is I want the audience to get the benefits. I know. So there's none of the guests that I bring as Riaz. There's no Riaza. It's spot on because I want you to get the juice out of them. Some of those things are really surprised that wow, are you asking this question? Yes, because I want to get the information. I want to say thank you, Coach Remi. It's been great having you, and I believe this book will make a big difference. And I am a great parent advocate. I love and I've seen a lot of things. I haven't grown up in Nigeria. I've been in the US for the past 17 years. Working in Salvation Army make me to see a lot of things that white kids, African American, Latinos go through. And it has really been my kind of, in fact, we do have what we call parenting class. While I was in Salvation Army, we have a class that parents come, so helping parents to really get the help they need has been really one of my real passion, and that's why I buy this book, and I want to recommend this book to everyone. We're going to put the link to buy the book. Where can we find the book, Coach Remi? Where can we
So
find it?
you can find it on Amazon.com,
Okay.
Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk,
Yeah.
Amazon. Whatever country you live in,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
available today.
So we're gonna put the link right here on the YouTube so that you can be able to access it and get it. Till we come your way next time with another great host on this LAMP Leadership Advancement Mentorship and podcast. Don't forget, knowledge will only make a difference when it's applied. It's like a paint.
Yeah.
Until you apply it, there will be no difference. So we want to really appreciate our hosts, our guests one more time. Coach Remi, thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you subscribe so that you can always get new podcasts as they drop on this channel. My name again is Dr. Michael Koku, and it's my privilege to host this podcast. Till I come your way next time with another host, make sure you apply what you just learned. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye bye.